Hey everybody, it's Ray Gootz from Disney Pod. Usually I start these episodes with music, but this week we're starting a little different. So we'll let you guys know we had some technical problems with this week's episode. Pumpkin's connection wasn't that great, but he plowed through. He's got a lot of great points. He was the perfect guest to talk about Soul, so we're presenting it as is, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to give you a heads up, and I also want to talk a little bit about the future of the show. I could never believe that I would have completed this task. I've covered every Pixar movie and every Walt Disney Animated Studios film with a different comedian. I didn't repeat any single fucking comedian for over 80 episodes, so that's cool. But now we're changing it up a little bit. That's right, we're mixing up. Season 3, we're going to be doing the remakes, the live action remakes of the cartoon movies, and I'm bringing back the guests that covered the cartoon movies to cover the remakes. So next week we're going to have Gianmarco Ceresi talking about 1994's Jungle Book. We're going to have Nellie Cuomo in a few weeks coming back talking about Alice in Wonderland. Lynette Palladino talking about Beauty and the Beast. Mike Rossini talking about Mulan, so on and so forth. And we're going to go straight down. I no longer have covered every Walt Disney animated film on the show. I did not cover Raya and the Last Dragon. It came out while I was doing season 2. When season 3 is over, we're going to jump back and we're going to do Raya and the Last Dragon. And, we'll cover it then before we move on to season 4. Season 4 is going to be all the Marvel animated films, from the Tomb of Dracula or Dracula Sovereign of the Damned, I think they call it, all the way up to Into the Spider-Verse. I want to cover the Marvel animated movies because I feel like not a lot of people talk about them. They're deep cuts, and I want to mix it up, do something different for season 4. So between season 3 and season 4, we are going to cover Raya and the Last Dragon as an addendum to season 1. But once again, guys, thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey. We've did it. We've covered all of Walt Disney Animated Studio films except for Raya and the Last Dragon. And we've covered all the Pixar films except for where the fuck's coming out. I forget what's coming out. Luco, I don't know, Pluto, who knows? It's coming out this summer. So we're going to play a little bit of music as per used, and then sit back and relax and enjoy me and Pumpkin talking all about Soul. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your support, and enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, welcome to the Gootz Disney Pod. I'm your host, Ray Gootz, and today is the season 2 finale of the Pixar season. We're covering Soul, and my guest is Pumkin Escobar. Pumkin, how are you, man?
I'm good, Ray. I'm good. How you doing, man?
Good, I'm hanging in there. I'm
Is
doing
this
my
thing on?
thing. I'm sorry?
Oh, no. Go ahead. I can hear you. I'm
Okay,
good.
I'm doing my thing. I'm just hanging in there. Today we're covering Soul. This is the final Pixar movie out right now. But before we get into Soul, let's get to know Pumpkin. Pumpkin, how long have you doing stand-up?
I'm in my second stand-up life. I have been in my second stand-up life since November of 2014.
Oh, cool. When was your first stand-up life?
My first stand-up life ended in 2001.
Oh, okay. What happened? What happened in 2001?
A lot of bringer shows, a lot of people failing to come through, a lot of getting bumped.
I
When the
hear
people
you.
fail to come through, so I was like, you know what? Let me take a break. My human resources was not pulling through for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your friends were not supportive. Friends want to go to like 2 bringer shows, and they're like, okay, how come you're not famous yet?
Yeah, I'm done. I've done my part.
Yeah,
Get famous now.
yeah.
Famous now and leave me tickets at the door.
And how has stand-up been going for you lately with COVID kicking everyone's ass and shit?
I have not. I've done. I did one outdoor show down in like the Flatiron district, but it's just it hasn't been it's been virtually non-existent.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, there's so many comedians breaking the rules and doing
Yeah,
indoor
you got to
shows.
find different avenues, different ways to stay close.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing this. That's why we're talking about Disney.
Exactly. So I started a online uh Instagram live talk show thing called Black Guy Tonight.
Oh,
So I
cool.
do that 3 nights a week
That's
with
cool.
my guy Ray associate.
That's awesome, man. And you still had to talk to Kyle Lewis, right? Kyle was on the podcast. He did Fantasia 2000.
Yeah.
You still down with it? What got you into stand up?
Kyle's been doing a lot of. He's been doing some.
Yeah, Kyle's been blowing up on Twitter. He gets a lot of viral tweets.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big wrestling guy.
Yeah, big wrestling, just like me.
Yeah.
What got you into stand up, man?
It's super cliche, but a friend of mine was like, "Yo, you're funny. You should do stand up. Let's do stand up." I was like, all right, well, you set it up. You set it up. You find some place for us to get on stage and do whatever, and I'll do it. And he was like, okay. And I'm figuring, that's the last I'm going to hear of it. But I did start writing some jokes just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, about a couple of weeks later, he calls me up. He's like, okay, so this is what we're doing. This is it. And it was a showcase show at Stand Up New York.
Wow.
And it was a Saturday night thing. You know the kind of shows.
I know those shows. How'd you do?
I did well enough that the producer, I don't know if you ever heard of him, the producer was Bill Michaels.
Yeah, I did hear of him. He's not around as much as he used to be, but yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah. So Bill Michaels, it was a Bill Michaels show, and he was like, so where else have you performed? I was like, I don't know, classroom and junior high, But he thought that I'd done it before and I hadn't. Mm-hmm. So I guess I did well enough. It's been all downhill from there.
Okay. That's a pretty good answer. Well, I liked your show in Harlem. You used to have a show in Harlem before the world ended.
Yeah, man, it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun, man. And I'm performing spaces.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening with that.
And Silvana, where we used to do Heather show, is that still open or did they get shut down because of COVID?
No, they're still open. They're still open. They've still been doing business, little outdoor action. They got those little clear cubicle hut things.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been able to stay afloat during the pandemic so far.
Okay. How is so you still live in Harlem, right?
Oh yeah.
And how is it over there? Because
I'm not
Midtown,
going anywhere.
but are things shutting down? Because Midtown's a ghost town. So how's Harlem doing with all this shit?
Oh no, Harlem is the streets are still busy. People are still doing their, going through the motions, doing their grocery shopping. They're still going to CVS and they're still going to Rite Aid. They're still ordering takeout. They're still picking up food. One of the best things about this into a space that we needed to be in the first place, which was the ability to order takeout booze.
Yes, and also drinking the street.
Yes, drinking in the streets and takeout booze, man. It's like it's a shame that this had to happen for us to get there, but we're here now. Can't go back. Can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Hey man, I love drinking in front of my house. I don't care. It's fun times, man.
Beautiful. It's what life should always be like.
What happened?
It's what life should always be like.
I know, yeah. Some good stuff came out of this. I'm glad to hear Harlem's doing good. Midtown is like end of the world, bro. It's like you would think like a fucking zombie apocalypse hit and the zombies won. There's like nothing around.
Yeah, it's crazy being down there, like especially like 34th Street, Herald Square. It's crazy being down there and seeing the lack of activity when this is a space that's always been buzzing, people just moving around and throngs and lots of traffic and everything. It's just been so alive for all these years, and now it's like
dead.
It's got COVID.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to happen is, I think people are going to
COVID.
Yeah, I think people are going to stick to their neighborhoods. So I think like if people want to go see comedy and they live in Harlem, they're going to go to a show in Harlem. If people want to see comedy in Queens, they're going to Queens. I think the days of let's go to Manhattan or let's go to Midtown are over. I think people are just going to fuck with their own neighborhoods moving forward.
Well, part of that is that it's like, why get on a subway if you don't have to?
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been on the subway in a year. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I've been on the subway. I've been on the subway recently, but just because, I've had to get around. I've had to go, here and I've had to go there. So I've had to make some movements in order to get to those places. I had to get on the subway.
Yeah, no, I hear you. What were you into? I know you're big into comic books because we always have the same statuses about Zack Snyder and all those guys. But what else? What cartoons and stuff were you into as a kid?
As a kid, well, there's the classics, the OG shit, the Looney Tunes and all of that. But I feel like, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, Transformers, you know what I'm saying? Even G.I. Joe. I was more Transformers than G.I. Joe. Then there were, Saturday morning cartoons. Jack Kirby's masterpiece, Turbo Team.
Oh, did he do Turbo Team?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked to learn that the king, Jack Kirby, had a hand in Turbo Team.
He also
Dungeons and Dragons.
That was a good show, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons was great. Used to love that. A lot of stuff. Hanna-Barbera's World of Superheroes.
Yeah, the superpowers.
Hanna-Barbera's World of Superheroes was really big, yo. I mean, when you talk about Hanna-Barbera's World of Superheroes, my favorites were the Impossibles.
Okay, yeah. All right.
So there's the Impossibles, Birdman, and Space Ghost, and Mighty Thor, all the guys that had the same cry, same battle cry, with just different names.
Yeah.
Blue Falcon and Dynomutt. Oh man, the Harlem Globetrotters and the Super Globetrotters. There was so much content back then. There was Saturday morning stuff, and then there was after school stuff. It was before school. There was a lot going on, yo. There was a lot engaging our attention and our imaginations back then, yo.
There really was, man. And now I look at some of this shit. Yo, the shit for kids now is just dumb. It's like we're gonna make you into an idiot. Like some of these YouTube channels, some of like I get free Roku channels, is like 9 kids channels, and it's like, yo, bro, like what do they think? Kids are mentally ill? They think kids. This is for children who don't know who can't breathe properly. Like you know what I mean? Like who they're 6 and they don't know how to walk yet. What the fuck? Like it's just like kids aren't this dumb, bro. Like, can you make something with half a brain for the kids? You know?
It's like I don't know if they like want to be able. I don't know if they don't want to give kids credit for being able to handle it and discern certain shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you know, speaking of like in recent events, current events and shit, like nobody I knew watched Pepe Le Pew and said that's how you get girls.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Nobody modeled the way that they were gonna go about getting a girl's attention. Nobody modeled that shit after Pepe Le Pew.
No.
You know? If anything, Pepe Le Pew taught you how not to approach girls.
That's right. Yeah, you know, Pepe Le Pew was clearly a bad guy. He clearly was a villain. Maybe not a villain, but just a really annoying dude.
He was a thirst bucket. That's it.
Yeah.
He was a thirst bucket, and he couldn't tell the difference between a female skunk and a cat with paint on her back.
Yeah, he was just horny as hell.
That's really it.
But people like, it's just like people don't give people credit anymore. You can't even tell a story about someone who's fucked up because they're like, oh, people are gonna want to be like the fucked up person. No, they're not, because people have half a brain. If you present the fucked up person as fucked up, they're gonna recognize that, and they're not gonna copy. They're gonna enjoy the character of the story, but not copy the behavior. But I guess people now just they want to be told how to think or something. I don't know. You know?
I feel like part of it is that it seems like so many people nowadays, you know, kind of, you know, you look at the internet troll, right? And this is basically someone who has taken villainy and decided this is going to be my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a villain. I'm going to be an asshole, right? And so that's kind of like, I don't know, that's kind of like the beginnings of some shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's the beginnings of some misbehaving for the fuck of it, just to entertain yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, there's a
villainy.
Yeah, there was a dude on my Twitter feed, and he constantly is like telling people how to act or what to say. He's big on like, we got to ban Pepe Le Pew. What does it matter? Lola Bunny doesn't have big titties. All those kind of, you know. And then he did a live stream the other day, and he doesn't have a profile pic. I'm like, I want to see what this guy looks like. And he could barely talk. He didn't look into the camera. He like looked like he was like jittery, and I'm like, oh, this dude can't even function. So he's just big online. So who the fuck? No, bro. Sorry.
Me, I'm not here.
What?
If that's for me, I'm not here.
It was Kyle. He wants to put on another wrestling comedy show. It's just like dude, like you can't tell me how to act in the world when you can't function in the world. Is what I'm trying to say. Or you can't lecture people and shit. That's a lot of these internet people. They can't function in the real world, so they just sit on Twitter all day and try to get rid of people that are actually doing shit. So
yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say there's some people that, you know, that nobody should be paying any attention to. Nobody should be listening to. You know, but I'm like, yo, there are gonna be people who are gonna listen to assholes. There are gonna be people who are gonna listen to shitheads.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, there's what's the saying? There's an audience for everybody, right?
Well, that's what we're finding out.
And that's the fact of the matter. There's an audience for everyone, even shitheads and assholes.
Even Zack Snyder, who shouldn't have any audience, he should be in prison.
Zack Snyder, you know, that's why QAnon exists and all of this other shit, you know, because even idiots need something to listen to.
You know, what are you into today? Because I know you still like you'll make posts about comic books and stuff. What are you into today right now?
Well, you know, I'm paying attention to the way that comic books and shit are being presented in films and movies and shit like that. So I like that live action business.
Oh yeah.
I I like to see the way that companies can take a still image sort of medium, a visual medium, and translate that shit into screen, because it takes a lot of skill and a lot of attention and a lot of love for the product in order to get it done right.
Yeah. 100.
So it's like, what you something a situation that you can convey over 2 pages in a comic book, a conversation, or a scene in a movie. That shit's like a minute.
Yeah,
It's
no.
what took 3 pages in a comic book, that shit's a minute in a movie. It's 1 minute. And so now what? That shit took 3 pages out of 22.
No, you're right.
To have that conversation in that comic book took 3 pages. In a movie, it's 1 minute.
What is some of your did you
4 hours left.
Did you enjoy WandaVision?
I did. The thing about WandaVision that was fascinating to me was it's a story about a woman grieving and having a breakdown because of so much loss in her life so quickly.
Yeah.
Like from the minute the Avengers showed up in her life, from the minute Iron Man and the gang showed up in her life, Wanda's life has been shit. Her
really
brother
has
died.
There's not been upside to being an Avenger.
Yeah, her brother, she got mind pimped by a robot.
Yeah.
And then she fell in love with another robot. And then that robot died. Then she had to kill that robot in order to save the world. And then that robot died anyway, right in front of her. Had his brain pulled out of his head right in front of her. And before that, she killed a bunch of people by accident trying to be a hero.
That's right. She killed everybody in Sarkovia. Yeah.
No. And I think they were in Nigeria, I think.
Oh, yeah. So why do they call it I guess
Civil War.
Because they call it the Sokovia Accords, so I always think it's Sokovia. Sorry. Yeah, that's what they call it, Sokovia Accords. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it, man. I'll tell you what, I can't believe Marvel is just knocking out of the park with Falcon, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and DC is putting me to sleep with Justice League. It's like if you told me as a kid what's going to be the better movie, I'd be like, who gives a fuck about Falcon and Scarlet Witch? Give me Justice League. And that shit was it's just the money that DC leaves on the table while Marvel cleans up with great characters like Scarlet Witch. Just insane to me. It's just fucking I don't know if you agree with me, but it's fucking wild, No.
Well, see, here's the thing, and I think about it this way. In an odd roundabout way, Marvel really won. Marvel really backdoored their way into this situation because their cinematic universe began with Iron Man, who's like a B-list, C-list character. But he was who they had rights to out and out exclusively, right? They had Iron Man. So you're not going to start off with a Thor movie. So the most relatable character of the Avengers that they could start off with, I guess they could be the most compelling. And so, Favreau knocked that out of the park. But that movie set up, so they were able to work with a character who wasn't the most popular character in their catalog. Yeah. Right? People wanted the X-Men and, but Fox had those and so who do they have? The Avengers were pretty big in the 80s. The X-Men were bigger, but so they knew how to handle those characters that weren't the major stars.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they've got a great handle on doing that now, on working those characters that people don't really know and delivering those characters to you. And the other thing that I noticed, I watched the quote unquote bonus episode of Assembled, which showed you the documentary style behind the scenes of how they made WandaVision.
Okay. I gotta watch that. I didn't watch it yet. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta watch it because the people that they talk, everyone working on that production was on message. Everybody was about producing this amazing story and telling the story and making sure that the feeling and what the story was about was going to come across on screen.
Yeah.
And they also wanted to, do sitcoms and shit like that. So they really, really, really went for it, and it was super. That shit was super ambitious.
It was.
And they went for it, but everybody was about getting that shit done and doing it right, and they did it. They killed it.
They did, man, and I got to give them all the credit. Like, I would never thought it would have worked, but they fucking made it work. So let's get up Disney Plus, killing it, and this is kind of historic. This is the first Disney Plus only movie covering on the podcast. It's Soul. It's supposed to come out in theaters, but it didn't because of COVID. Now, Pumpkin, you saw Soul, correct?
I watched it about 4 times.
Oh, okay. So you know what, man? I got to be real. As soon as the movie's over, because I was like, okay, I gotta have someone cover this on the podcast. I thought of you. I'm like, I'm gonna ask Pumpkin to cover it. I had a feeling this would relate to you. What about Soul? What do you like about it so much? I want to hear from your words. But I thought of you as soon as the movie was over. I swear to God.
Well, that's great. I thought about just the richness. First of all, it's a test. You gotta be you can't fuck it up when you're telling the first Black story, yes, animated feature, right? Mm-hmm. Just the first one. You've nailed it with everything that you've done. You told stories about toys and you've nailed it. So everything that you touch, robots in the future and every story that you told, you've been able to get that feeling across. You've been able to get to people's center with the storytelling. Mm-hmm. You can't drop the ball now that you're dealing with Black folks, mm-hmm, right? Yeah. So I wanted to see how they were going to handle it. I wanted to see how they were going to look, how they were going to light Black people's skin, how they were going to light, how they were going to, treat the differing shades in the Black spectrum, mm-hmm, in terms of skin color, right? So there was that, but just the richness, the hair, yo.
Yeah.
They got the barbershop scene, and that barbershop scene was legit, yo.
That scene was really, really good. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they really got, they got it done. They got it right in that they really paid attention to details. Yeah, there was some complaints. Yeah, okay, there was the first Black character and he dies 20 minutes into the movie. Not even that. Maybe about 12 minutes in and he dies, okay. Okay, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see how it plays out. Mm-hmm. And so everything's not going to be 1000% perfect, but I still love the movie. And I enjoyed the shit. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed everything about it, except for the guy dying 12 minutes into the movie. But that was the story, okay? Okay, I get it.
Yeah. To me, this movie really kind of speaks to me. I was so anxious to see it, and I think it speaks to all performers because this guy is out there grinding, and he finally gets a break, and then he dies, and then it's like he's got to fight faith itself to get back to do his gig. I mean, I feel so many times in comedy
like
or with
death is
writing.
not going to stop me from having a gig of my lifetime.
Yeah, we have fate against us so many times in the world against us. And that's what this guy basically has. The world's basically like, no, you're fucking dead, bro. And he's got to come back to do the gig. And it was great. I thought it was just awesome. Yeah, I got emotional a lot of times watching the film. I don't know if you did.
Oh, well, that information stay disclosed.
Okay.
Undisclosed rather. But it was, it come on, you know how Pixar does.
I'm sorry, what was that?
And I'll say it, and I don't have a problem. People that can make me cry in a movie is a Black director or Pixar.
Okay, there you go.
That's
yes.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got I got a little tingly up there,
okay,
in the nasals, but mostly, I just visually, the movie made me happy. When visually on Earth, the movie made me happy. Joe the cat is telling 22 the man how to explain to get his mother to understand how important his art is to him.
mm-hmm.
And so that was I really liked that scene. That scene was great. And it's like, because when you tell your parents that you want to be some sort of an artist, that's never what any parent wants to hear.
Nope.
Because they know what comes with that life, and his mother knew what came with that life, but the understanding of mother and son was important to me, and I thought that they handled it really well.
I thought
that barbershop scene, man.
The barbershop scene was great. What I liked about this movie was, I think it really, and I don't think they ever say it's Harlem, but they really capture Harlem, especially the area where Sylvana's is, and that general area. They really capture like the feeling of the neighborhood, and I think the club is in downtown, right? The jazz club.
Yeah, the club is down. Yeah, it's down in like it's way down in like the East Village area.
Yeah, see, it didn't feel like the East Village to me. It felt more like uptown Harlem, where the stand-up New York is, that general area. I know it was supposed to be downtown.
Well, some of like I think like where Joe lived is like. I feel like where Joe lived, his apartment was definitely in Harlem.
Yes.
I felt like it was kind of over there by over there on Broadway.
Yeah.
Around 125th Street and Broadway, like around that area. I think there's a scene where he's got the suit on and he goes chasing the hat where he rips his pants.
Mm-hmm.
I think that nope, because that was a underground. There was a subway grate, and it was.
Well, the trains all look like the one train to me. They all look like one train stations or 4 or 5 train stations. It didn't really feel like downtown train stations,
Because I got to watch it again because I want to identify that train station now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it felt like the one train to me when they're on the train and they're talking to each other on the train. It did feel like the one train, but I could be wrong. But just the one train and the 2 and the 3, they have a very distinct style as opposed to like the R, the N, or even like the
F. Yeah, for sure.
There's a vibe on the 1, 2, or 3 train you don't get on the.
It's got its own energy, its own style, its own look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it never has those little personal 2-seaters. It's always like you got to sit along a row and hopefully no one spreads out. What I wanted to ask you was with this movie is my question to you. Sorry, I had a question. I'm sorry, I had a question and I lost it with the but fuck. Sorry. I'm usually better at this. I'm usually more on top of this as host. My one problem with the movie. This is my one problem with the movie. And maybe you'll disagree with me. I don't know. I kind of felt like the movie was gonna say that one of his callings in life was a teacher because the kids kept trying to say to him, "I couldn't get where I was if it wasn't for you." And he
Mm-hmm.
kind of never has a moment where he's like, "I'm happy I was a teacher." It's just at the end he's like, "I'm gonna just keep pursuing my dream." And I was hoping the movie wasn't going to end with him being, "I'm going to give up my dream and become a teacher." But I do wish like some acknowledgement was like, you've helped people your entire life. It wasn't just about, you're not a failure just because you didn't become a famous jazz musician. You've been helping people achieve their dreams while you're on your own journey. And I feel like they were trying to acknowledge that, but they didn't really at
I
the
think
end.
that's what they kind of were saying with the end when he's saying, that he realizes that he's got to live the life that he has.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And live the life that he has to the fullest, because he realized when 22 student comes to his house, and then 22 sees the girl playing
Yeah.
and experiences the girl playing, and then understands what it was for him and everything. It's I feel like he kind of understood his work from a different perspective because it was outside of his body. He saw somebody else seeing what his teaching did for the student, right?
Yeah. No,
So I
he
think
did.
that was something that he kind of learned and saw and got to observe, and at the end of the movie when he says, that he's going to live his life now, I think that in the beginning he wasn't really living his life. He was going through the motions, and he was just really, he thought that his life was just about that one thing, that one big break that was going to launch his jazz musician career into the stratosphere, or that one opportunity that was going to make him a big household name.
Yeah.
And he realized a household name.
Yeah.
But what the interesting twist was for me?
What's that?
22 had been around forever,
Mm-hmm.
ducking and dodging, and trying not to get to Earth, trying not to get a life, right?
Yeah.
And then 22 eventually does. And what does that mean? 22's been around forever. So 22 is basically whatever body that 22 lands in as a baby, that baby is an old soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, in a roundabout way, that they suddenly said that, like, they suddenly made the position that this is where old souls come from.
You know what? That's a good point. Never thought of that. That's a good one. Thank you. What did you think of Tina Fey? I could have done a little bit less of her. I really wanted, I was talking about this in the podcast during season one, that it's so weird to me, and I think they left real money on the table, that Disney never went in the 80s or 90s fully into the Black experience, especially when you had people like Prince alive, Michael Jackson alive, Whitney Houston, and you could say to them, write the songs for this movie and let's tell a story of Black America in the 20s or the 60s. And I think with the right songs and the right dance numbers, that movie could have been just as big as Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, if not bigger. But all those artists are dead. And I'm not taking anything away from the new artists. But I was enjoying the barbershop scenes, the scenes with the mom, the scenes. And then there's just like a goofy white girl doing goofy white girl jokes. And I didn't mind them, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, that's enough. I want to hear more about Joe and his people. I'm tired of this little white woman. What did you think?
I can see how I can see how a lot of people, felt like, oh, great job, Pixar. You killed the black guy 12 minutes into his own movie. And then when you put him back in his own body, you put him into a cat and you put a white woman's voice in his mouth. And I was like, yeah, I could
Yeah.
see that. But I was like, I'm like, if I dwell on that, then I'm not going to be able to enjoy the story, the movie, the journey that the character's on. But I'm not saying that it's not legitimate,
Yeah.
at
It just,
all. There's nothing is 100%, nothing is perfect.
yeah.
So that happened. Yeah, they kind of screwed the pooch a little bit on that. They weren't, you know,
Well, I mean,
people in the room.
They did kind of acknowledge it with this is the most annoying voice in the world, and it's a white woman's voice.
Yeah, yeah,
that was
and that was the joke. That was the joke.
Yeah, but like at the same time, it's like I know, but I've seen a bunch of movies with a white woman as the lead. I would have liked to have seen more African American characters run around, do their thing or help them out, rather than another white woman. And she might not be white when she's born. She's really not anything if you think about it. But it's still fucking Tina Fey.
Yeah,
I've had my fill of Tina Fey.
At the end of the day, you could you could have gotten anybody to voice 22.
Yeah. You could have got a black actress and had her do a white woman voice and be like, oh, this is the most annoying voice in the world, so I'm going to go with it and have her do like, a miserable white woman voice the whole time, like Kerry Washington doing a white woman's voice. That would have been funny. I don't, what I mean? Like just something. I don't know why it had to be Tina Fey. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like, how long have they been working on this movie? Because it's like, I don't know what Tina Fey really is doing nowadays.
She's collecting her money. I think she produces a lot of things.
Yeah. She's just sitting on a steadily rising pile of cash. But in terms of like working in front of the camera, you know what? If they really wanted to, I think if they really wanted to keep in step with the annoying voice thing, they could have hired. I don't know how long they were working on it, but if they had hired Michelle Wolf, that would have been perfect.
Oh, that would have been yes. Oh, I guarantee you, we're gonna see that happen. She actually would be a great voice in a cartoon, like a villain or like a teenage girl. Yeah, that would be good. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an animated film with her in it coming out like in the next year or two. We just haven't heard an announcement. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who I would think. If I would think, well, let's get her voice. That's very distinct. Her and Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert Gottfried should be your dad.
Her and Gilbert Gottfried is a couple of old cats. That would be
dude, you just nailed it. Now you get to see Your Life of Pets Part 3. That's what you
Your Life of Pets Part 3.
You just fucking nailed it, dude. So what do you think? I have a theory that if Disney had went full blast, I don't count Princess and the Frog as Randy Newman wrote the music. I think that's fucking stupid. Nothing against Randy Newman, but like there's so many great black artists. You couldn't have a black artist write the songs for Princess and the Frog.
Randy Newman did a song for the Princess and the Frog?
He did all the songs for Princess and the Frog.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Him and Dr. John. Choice. You know Dr. John, right? The fat white guy?
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
Okay. Well, they did all this music for the Black Princess movie. Anyway, but what do you think? I think if Disney went all out with a movie about Black America, and I'm okay, so let's say you said it in the 20s, you said it in the Jazz Age, right? If you don't want to go to civil rights, because maybe they'd be afraid in the 90s to do that. I think though I
feel like there's this dude named Wynton Marsalis who's still out there, that
he could do it. He could
I think that he could definitely oversee the music for your set and what was it, like 1930 something, 1920 something? The Princess and the Frog. What year
Princess
was
and the Frog was in the late 30s. Yeah, it's like around the late 30s, the 20s.
Yeah, late 30s, late 30s, Louisiana. I feel like, there's a guy named Wynton Marsalis, Branford Marsalis. You could pick up the phone and call either one of those guys.
Well, nope, they call Randy Newman. They're like, listen,
Randy Newman instead.
We think of Black America, we think of Toy Story.
We think of Black America, we think of Randy Newman.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I don't know why you think of Randy Newman.
Yeah, because when I didn't see the movie until this summer, when getting ready for this podcast, and when the movie came out, they were very patting themselves in the back. Oh, we did it. We have a black princess and all these black artists.
Like, she spent most of the movie as a fucking frog. Y'all did not get the job done, yo.
No, and although I love Keith David as Dr. Falcon.
Keith David is Keith David.
Yeah,
you don't get to pat yourself on the back for casting Keith David as the voice of the bad guy or whatever.
Yeah. But they did pat themselves in the back. So then when I put the movie on and the credits are rolling, they go, music by Randy Newman. I'm like, hold up. I don't even like this dude. I don't even like his Toy Story shit. Now I thought this was about Black America. Why the fuck is Randy Newman here? But anyway. Do you not agree with me that like back in like the 90s, the Hunchback era, if they had done a movie about like Black America, like Michael Jackson and Prince doing the music, it would have been the hottest movie of all time? I think it would have blown. It would have changed everything.
But what would the movie have been about?
I mean, it could have been about anything. You could do about maybe like a guy in Harlem finds out he is the prince of coming to America too. He finds out he's a prince. He's got to go to Africa, and there's all these musical numbers, and he goes to this adventure to get this crystal with the princess, and then he takes the princess back to Harlem, and they're like chasing the streets, and there's a magical in the African kingdom. He like gets a magical little buddy.
It could be like you mean like a reverse thing where he goes and then he brings the princess back to
New York. They go back and forth.
Like they no, he brings the African princess back to Harlem where he's like considered royalty in his neighborhood.
Yeah, maybe he's like the head hustler on the street.
Everyone loves him, and he comes from a great family in the neighborhood that's revered and loved.
And the villain comes back to Harlem, and like the villain like sends.
The villain is a real estate mogul.
Yes. No. The villain is a corrupt cop who is trying to. Yes, he's trying to gentrify Harlem. He's a cop and a real estate mogul. He's just bad all around, and he can be played by Matt Damon, and he can have a big musical number.
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Matt Damon, the cop.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the villain is a real estate mogul, and his henchman is this dirty cop.
There you go. All right.
And I think that would. You know what? Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah, I think
that could work today.
You had Michael Jackson, and I would even have Michael Jackson with the storyboard people and be like, we're gonna storyboard music, dance numbers, and da. And with animation, you tell Michael Jackson, that's the big thing. Howard Ashman, the guy who wrote The Little Mermaid, he goes, this is the future of music because with animation, there's no limits. I can imagine whatever I want, and it's gonna happen. And that's the same thing. You give Michael Jackson plot out these storyboards. I guarantee you would have saw some fired dance moves and the.
Oh no, Michael Jackson would have definitely been all over.
Or even
that
Prince.
Sort of.
Prince, I think Prince did a movie like that.
I don't know. Prince might have been like, I'll throw you a couple of songs.
Yeah.
He's got to be into them. It's got to speak to him.
Yeah, well, Whitney Houston would have to be the voice of the princess, and then she would have to have like three or like at least 2 songs, maybe even a third.
Without question.
And that's all that they never did it, and I'm just like, you lose. I don't know. It's just they went everywhere, but Black America. They went everywhere. They went to Mulan. They went to China before they went, and it was just
exhausted all other avenues.
Yeah,
all other avenues before they were like, you know what, fuck it. Let's do a black thing.
Yeah, let's go there. Here's the one question I have for you, which I'm not sure about. Would you recommend Soul to kids? Because I feel like it's more meant for people like us than children.
Oh yeah, sure. I'd recommend anything to kids.
Oh, okay. Okay? Yeah. Because my friend was like, my one friend, his sister wasn't going to show the movie to her kid, and she's like afraid the kid's going to be bored. But I think this could inspire kids.
Well, it depends on I wouldn't necessarily recommend Soul to like a 9-year-old, but my niece who was 12 at the time. She's 13 now, but she loved it.
Yeah, I think an older kid. I think this would be very. I think a 3-year-old. Yeah, it's a little bit too meta for a 3-year-old.
Yeah. So like. Yeah, it's not like like we were little and we were watching Looney Tunes, but they were hitting each other with anvils and shit, cartoon violence, So that was different. Like when we were coming up, when we were little.
No,
but what they're doing now, it's deep emotional shit. They're doing deep emotional mining at Pixar,
Without a shadow of doubt.
They're getting deep into the human condition and existentialism and shit like that.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, and I think this is one of their best films. And let me ask you this question: what do you think the future is? You think movie theaters are going to come back, or do you think like Soul movie like Soul drop it on Disney Plus? That's the future of the industry. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I think movie theaters will come back.
Mm-hmm.
Will they come back in the same same way that they were? I think you might have to do some. You might have to install some partitioning, in between seats where you could flip it up.
Yeah.
That side partition where just like with the fucking the armrest where you can either put it up or put it down. You could do something like that with some partition, keep it moving from there.
Yeah, no, 110%. We'll see. I personally, unless it's like X-Men versus Avengers or something fucking crazy like that, I'm cool just watching movies from home.
Yeah, it's got to be a big deal to get people back in the theaters. And Godzilla versus King Kong is not big enough to do it.
No, because I know they're going to do it wrong. The last two Godzilla movies weren't that good, so like
Kevin Feige is very resistant to the death of the theater experience. He's like, we're not dropping movies on Disney Plus that we spent $200 million to make.
No, and look, I get it, but like, Black Widow, I'm not too excited about that. Like, you can drop that on Disney Plus. I don't think anyone's gonna fucking be. It is what it is. What it is. But hey, let's see this fucking.
Taskmaster in it.
Oh well, yeah. That's.
And now that you've got the Vision and you've done Ultron and the Vision, how far off before we get the super adaptoid? You know what I'm saying? So
that might happen. You never know. That might happen in Falcon Winter Soldier. They're already dropping things like the Flag Smasher, Baron Zemo. You never know. That might happen with this show. There could be a lot of surprises coming up.
Armor Wars coming. So they've got a lot cooking,
mm-hmm.
and it's all in service of setting up films.
Yeah. Yeah.
In in the next year and the end of this year and into next year and beyond. So that's what they're still operating from a theater experience, mindset.
Yeah. So Pumpkin, I know you got something popping off in a little bit. So let me get your plug in. Pumpkin, where can people find you on social media if they want to follow you?
If you want to follow me directly, you can follow me on Instagram at PDOTESCO at P.Esco. On Instagram is my personal page. You want to check out Black Guy Tonight and see what the hell it is we talk about, that deluxe yakety yak. You can follow that page at Black_Guy_Tonight pages. I'm always out there fucking around on Twitter, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
But Twitter is the same as, and so that's where you can find me. Doing what I do, talking, delivering that premium bullshit.
And he's a good follow on Facebook too. So if you want to follow him there,
yeah, you can definitely follow me on Facebook as well.
Yeah, he's got some funny posts. Pumpkin, thank you so much for being part of the show. Thank you. You are the season 2 finale. You were the big finale for season 2.
Hey, I'm the big finale. I'm like a cliffhanger.
There you go.
Next
week, guys, we're gonna have season 3. We're gonna be doing the live action remakes, and week 1 will be the '94 Jungle Book with Gianmarco Ceresi. Please subscribe to us on iTunes. Pumpkin, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Ray. I appreciate it, man.
You got it, man.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. Woo.